For the last month, I have had to, at my part-time job, explain what is a negative. This is a negative film from a film camera. I had to explain this to a young lady earlier today. Dr. Implausible asks, unstable camera? Dr. Implausible asks, what does a photo mean to you? To me, a photo means, it used to mean, aunties, cousins, brothers, and uncles would fight over each one of those photos. 'Cause back in the day, you would go to a camera shop. They will give you your negatives. After you got your negatives, while you have the negatives, you have the option to print your stuff, single or double. That was usually the only option, single or doubles. And double means that you can give it to a friend, the second set, and they can do whatever they wanted with it. But the negative, this is a negative here, that is gold. It is pure gold to you because you can get as many more as you want printed along with this here. In the 2000s, film was pretty much just edged out, like it's being destroyed. Nobody's using it. Everybody's going digital and everything else. So nobody gets an opportunity to go, hang on, let me take the lens cover off here. You don't hear that anymore. You hear a fake version of that, but you don't hear that anymore. This is my Pentax K1000. This was an awesome device. It still works. It uses 35 millimeter. This is a 35 millimeter negative. And I actually had to explain this to a person. No disrespect whatsoever. The dude just didn't know. He was like, I don't know what's on here. And I was like, whoa, dude, all you gotta do is hold up to the light. And if you look real close, you can see a person's face there. These things are called negatives because in order to do this properly, you have to basically make it an opposite, and then it reflects the way it's supposed to be. But this is from a a medium format camera. I happen to always be able to get my hands on a camera, weak camera, that can actually print these guys. Take a snapshot of these guys, and you can't really see too much what's on here. It's kind of hard. It's not the best thing. It's what I like to experiment with. What does film, or what does a photo mean to me now? A photo to me today, right now, is where I have been on this planet, in this parallel universe, in that moment of time. And the reason I say that is on my cell phone, I do geotagging and everything else. And I use my cell phone as my primary way of taking photos and videos. And it's doing a timestamp of where I am at this particular point. And when you see what I can produce over here, this is like a little map of every little place I've been in the United States. So you can see I've been on the West Coast, I've been a little bit in the middle, I've been in the Illinois area, I've been all over the East Coast, and then I've been down in the South too. I've just been around and taking photos. I love that. I love to see where I have been and possibly just go to a place I have not been, like Deadwood. I still want to go to Deadwood. But that's what photos mean to me. It's no longer something that's so personal that people will fight over it. It's something that I can share now and share my location and share my images. And, over time, I've connected with things on Google to literally show places where I've eaten before, and it's a cool thing. I get paid for it. No, I don't get paid for it, but it's just a really cool thing to show where I've been, because sometimes some of the places I've been no longer exist, which is sad. And that's the reason why I'm going to show you this photo right here. This photo was taken of a gas station that no longer exists in my hometown. It was torn down, and they put some apartments over there now. But it was a sad thing because I used to ride my bicycle, nearly flat tire, to have this guy pump the air in there. It was a really cool thing. First time I had ever chatted with a mechanic and everything. So it's still a good memory. I still have that photo before the building was demolished. And I'm going to show you one more photo. And this photo here is a little building. I don't know if it still exists, but on I-20, just before, if you're in Alabama and you're going to Georgia and you're going from west to east, on the right-hand side, there's a building way off in the woods, and that building is this building here. I could have gotten bitten by a rattlesnake and died and everything else, but I risked my life for this photo. It's not the best photo, but man, I risked my life for that photo. And that's how precious a good image was to me back in the day. I still love to take photos. I take photos all the time, timestamps, again, of where I was at that particular time. Again, I geotag, so you can clearly see my footsteps. Take that as you will. That's what photos means to me, and photos mean a lot. Oh, and FYI, if you ever wanted to, yeah, this is how you do it. Film goes inside of here. That's where the film goes. It goes inside of there. This is a 35mm camera. My medium format camera. I got another one from Germany. I don't know. It was dirt cheap. I don't know whether it works. But if you know me, you know I'll buy anything for $20. I'll buy anything for $20. Anyway, I bought it for $20, and that's it. I don't know if it works or not. I have 1 or 2 rolls, and my rolls for that particular camera is $10 a pop. It's the smallest I can find, cheapest I can find. I still have 1 old roll of film, and I'm gonna print it out. Again, it makes big negatives like this as opposed to negatives like that. 6 minutes. Nobody should still be here. Look, I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when you mess up a negative. I'm in the dark room, and while I'm in the dark room, if you look right here, Singer is inverted. That's the reason they call it a negative. One of my coworkers was like, and she said this in such an innocent face. I was like, oh my God, you're like an adorable little sister. She said, why did they call it a negative? I was like, oh my God, I'm like, you're so young. They call it a negative because you need to have an opposite view of what you're looking at when you actually print it. If you can read it, it's wrong. If you can't read it, it's right. That's why they call it a negative. It's an inverted image. So that's the reason why they call it a negative. Kind of like that Reed case in Massachusetts. When they were like, hey, that camera, that video footage is inverted. That's not the right side of her car. That's the left side of her car.